This is our wheelchair access, our ADA access.
Do you have
the
a
middle of our
wheelchair?
section.
No, but I didn't see a handicap sign, so I wasn't aware of that until he just said that.
Well, I apologize for that, sir.
So you're telling me this is the wheelchair area?
Yes, sir.
Designated wheelchair area?
Yes, sir.
What are the boundaries of the wheelchair area?
It doesn't matter to you, sir. I need you to move over here for me, sir.
Okay, where would you like me to move to?
Jacket?
No, that's not mine. Thank you, officer.
What's this?
You're 18?
I'm 21.
21, all right.
I'm 18 too. I'm 18 though.
Oh, you're 18, so old enough to vote.
Yeah.
This is gonna be your first vote, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so what's your interest in coming here today?
Just I went to go see him for when he ran for Senate. He wants teachers to get paid more, so I want to major in education.
Okay.
And that's like one big thing that he wants to be, like get teachers to get paid more and stuff like that, as well as the immigration part. That is like a big thing for us, like our family is in that situation, and just based on those two things.
And what nationality are you?
I'm Hispanic.
All right, you're Hispanic. So you think that with the condition of the border right now, Beto will be able to improve that situation?
I believe so. I mean, I saw yesterday he was in El Paso with the whole, where all those kids were like stuck in that little section right there. I think he would. Like a lot of Hispanics are going for him, so I think he would.
So immigration and education is a big issue for you?
Yes, it is.
All right, and what kind of problems do you think exist on the border right now that need to be solved? Is there anything, really urgent that needs to be taken care of? Do we have a crisis? What kind of crisis?
Just like how they're just deporting all like Hispanics in
They should be
general.
able to. There should be regulations that allow us to get in safely, and the fact that now that since Trump is in office, and right when someone enters, it's a huge scandal. And I understand that people want like legal immigration, but at the same time, illegal immigration, I guess people see it as an issue, but it really is not an issue because they're coming here for a better life, and Beto is understandable of that, and he's trying to make change and make people aware that it's actually a good situation and that actually can benefit America.
So you're not against border security, but you do want to see a good unobstructed flow.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
All right.
I feel like he can help us.
And on Beto's stance on the border is that he wants to tear down the existing walls. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
To tear down the existing border walls?
And not build the one that Trump is trying to build.
Okay, and so what kind of protection will we have on the border?
I mean, honestly, it shouldn't be. I understand that we still should have one because there is still things with like the drug problem within America, like not like marijuana and stuff, but the harmful, under Schedule 1 of the drug things. But at the same time, I feel like we should have some sort of protection, which is not as bad as Trump is wanting to have one, because he really wants the wall, and it's really unnecessary because we really do not need it. I understand that there should be a way to come in safely, but if you're trying to just do a way that kind of dehumanizes people from other lands, it's just not good.
Okay, that was two topics you covered there. Let me start with the first one. All right, first of all, now one of the on the Democrat side, one of the things they're talking a lot about is rather than the wall, they want to invest in technology. Have you heard about that?
I am not.
Okay.
I'm going to look into that now.
What kind of technology do you think they're talking about?
I have not necessarily heard about that, so I have really no say because I don't know what they use it for. But once I look into it, I feel like if it's good for the way that people come in and make it safely and actually like allows individuals to come in for a good cause, then it shouldn't be a problem. I just need to look into it because I can't really say anything because I don't know anything about it. So I'm not going to say something if I don't know anything about it.
Okay, how would you know if they're here for a good cause, or you could take a word for it?
Because I am, I'm a daughter of immigrant parents. I have a lot of my friends there have immigrant families, and literally like 0.1% of the people really come in for bad reasons. Everyone else mostly comes in for jobs to support their families back in Mexico, just for a better life. Because my parents came here to give us a better life, like because they wanted to have kids and they didn't want to be raised in under such harsh conditions that are present within Mexico. And most people come here for better education, better life, for jobs, and honestly, there's no issue with that. There's not really a lot of bad people. I understand there's some bad people that come in, but that does not necessarily mean every single Hispanic is a bad person.
Has anybody said that every single Hispanic is a bad person coming across?
Trump.
He did? Can you tell me when he said that?
He doesn't necessarily state it, but the way that he speaks, he just degrades Hispanics, and he calls Hispanics rapists, drug dealers. Where? Am I a drug dealer? Am I a rapist? I don't think so.
So you can infer that from his speech, is that correct?
If I find his speech right now, I'm pretty sure I can find it, because there are some things out there. He doesn't think before he speaks, and I know there's somewhere out there that he said it, because there's articles. I read articles, I read newspapers, I know that he said it before. There's proof. He thinks he claims he doesn't say these things, but there's actual visual proof that he said it before.
Let me ask you a question then. Aside from Trump, all right, let's forget about Trump for a minute, right? Because this is about 2020, right?
Yes.
And y'all want to make sure Trump is irrelevant in 2020.
Yeah, I want the Democrat Party to take over.
Okay, now let me ask you, let's just strictly talk about what the Department of Homeland Security and the Border Patrol officials are saying about the border crisis. They're saying there's a real crisis, that there's a real problem, and they're requesting money from the government that they're having a hard time getting. And they also say that we really do need a wall. It's not just Trump saying that. This is the actual Customs, Border Patrol. These are Homeland Security. These are the people who know their stuff. So if they're saying it, then why can't we fund the border wall? Forget about whether Trump likes it or not. Why do we have to oppose because Trump wants it, but because these people are requesting it? What do you think about that?
Because it does not allow people to come in. Like I said before, people come here for a better life, and if there's a wall that just tries to separate people, people are still going to find a way to get it through, regardless if there's a wall or not. So they can build it if they want, but people still find a way to get it.
So should there be any kind of obstacle or barrier at all on the border?
There probably, they will be, but it shouldn't be that where they should not let them come in at all, to the point where there should not be a lot of people.
I understand that there's a process of people to come in legally, but that process is so difficult. It takes years. My parents have been trying to, they tried coming in before through the legal process, and if you have not seen it, it takes so long for individuals to actually try to come in. And we want to make sure that it becomes easier and more efficient for individuals to come in.
Do you know what the statistics are of other countries, or how many?
I do not know statistics.
Okay, so you're not really sure how you would compare the United States border policy, immigration policy with other countries?
No, I understand that. He did the little Muslim ban to the countries that are present with the Muslims, and I've seen the statistics. I've seen statistics, but I've seen information about that, where he's making it, but he mostly focuses on the Hispanic Americans because he sees them as the biggest threat of all.
I see. So, do you know that was Obama's Muslim ban that he just enforced?
What was that?
That was Obama's Muslim ban that he had enforced.
Really?
Yes.
I have not really seen. I was a child. I was a middle schooler when Obama was president, so I don't really know about the statistics about that. I just turned 18, but I'm still trying to get informed about all policies. There's a lot of policies. But can you tell me more about that? Do you know about that?
Yeah. Obama had a policy to ban people from terrorist countries, which is basically, it's not a Muslim ban actually.
Okay.
It's banning people that are on a list of countries that are the highest terror threats in the world, right?
Okay.
Now that you know that, how are your thoughts? Have they changed at all?
Not necessarily, because I want to personally look more into it, because I'm not just gonna make an opinion just right now, like a little summarization. I actually want to look into all the information. But if it was Obama's, I want to see what's intentions, because I know Obama, he was a good president. He was a Democrat, and I guess that's just label. I know he did some bad things too, because I know he deported people as well and stuff like that, because every president has done that. But it's just the fact that our current president has been enforcing it to the extent, like he's going beyond what one should personally do, more based off bias and not based off of know what a president thinks. He thinks more of a opinionated point of view.
This is a good place to get some info. You're going to ask any questions or try to shout something out there?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen videos and he's answered most of the questions that I've had. Like, I saw a video recently where he's like, what are you going to do for the black people, like the transgenders, the LGBT community, about the law, about the marijuana legalization, stuff like that. I've heard most of that. But I'm just going to try to hear about what other questions that I don't have, that other people have, and make sure that and see what he says and his points of view in regards to that.
Are y'all planning on attending any other rallies, like maybe Republican rallies or anything else later on?
No.
So you don't want to you just want one side of it?
I mean, in history classes and all that, I'm pretty sure we've heard all about that. I read articles, I see things online. I know a lot of them are not necessarily true, but I've seen like the more official websites that actually, and I know I'm more opposed to them. I don't really necessarily agree with their stances. So yeah, I kind of want to hear this point of view more because it's the side I'm more on, due to the fact that it relates to me more personally.
You said you're taking a history class. Is your professor also here? Is he a Beto fan?
I do not know if I haven't visited him in a few weeks. So, because I'm in economics now, I'm not in government anymore. But he was a Beto fan. I don't know if he's coming here though. What policies has he put out there that you agree with, that you think is something you really want to get behind? The prison reform because you know how a lot of individuals right now are in prison because of marijuana charges. When it's legal in places such as Colorado and California, and he's trying to make sure that if he becomes president, he's going to make a policy that will release those people from prison, because if it's legal in some places and illegal in others, it's like not really a set stance, and it's kind of unfair for some individuals such as here who are in prison because of things when there's convicted rapists and actual murderers who have less sentences than those people with drug charges.
All right, I'm a little confused because what you're describing sounds like the recent bipartisan bill that Trump and the Democrats have passed.
I have not heard about that. So, I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I don't know. Like I'm telling you, I just want to see. I know information, not really an expert about it because, I'm still learning and growing.
How long have you been following Beto O'Rourke?
2 years.
2 years. What got you interested in
his first live stream on Facebook about 2 years ago?
Okay. What was it that caught your attention? Something he said, or
inclusion for all? Oh, I'm a small business owner.
Okay.
Small business.
So an entrepreneur.
A little bit of an entrepreneur. We fell in love with him when he started talking about inclusion for all, healthcare, affordable healthcare. Unfortunately, because I am a small business owner, 2 children, my healthcare costs me $30,000 a year, and I have to pay that out of struggling. $30,000 is a lot. So when Beto started saying affordable healthcare, it's not free, but affordable for all, I was like, yeah. And his platform was like, it can be easily done. I was like, I started falling in love with it. And then the whole inclusion, no matter what, Democrat, Republican. I was corporate before, investment banking before. My daughter's birth cost me $50 with company-sponsored insurance. It was completely unexpected. I was on COBRA. December 31, it ended. January 1, I became self-insured, thinking, okay, this is great. It's more affordable than COBRA. 14 days later, I became pregnant on him on birth control, and it cost me $50,000. Beto O'Rourke saying affordable health care for all, fairness to all, pay our way. And if I'm making a whole bunch of money and it puts me in a bigger income bracket, I'm going to have to pay my share, right? If I'm making my 77-year-old mother who lives on her own, who lives on $800 a month, there's something different. She already paid into it. She has to pay Part B out of her $800 a month. And like simple things like healthcare, we shouldn't be breaking ourselves in such a wealthy, strong, bright country. The insurance companies are getting richer and richer. I pay $2,000 a month for my premium. I have to meet a family deductible of $6,000. That's $30,000 a year. Then I go zero. In that, my son has life-needing meds. He has to take this med one time a day. $380. It adds up until I hit that zero. Who's getting wealthy? Is Walgreens getting wealthy? Is my doctor getting wealthy? My doctor's not getting wealthy. It's the insurance company, right? You know, my private insurance, I went from company-sponsored insurance, but it's like, yeah, take the $200 out of my paycheck every 2 weeks. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with paying for my health insurance. I'm not fine with paying $2,000 and they're still not covering it. Me personally, I don't think it should be government. I don't think it should be government. My mom's on Medicare. My mom's on Medicare because she has no other options. I don't think the government should control. I will stop my foot down and say, no, you don't have yours, you don't make a choice. Government's going to make a choice. Right now with the government that it is,
what I'm here today to do is to ask a question, and it doesn't look like at the Beto rally I will have a chance, so I would like to ask my question for someone to hear. Thank you for taking my question. My name is Patty Harlan, and I work with Refuse Fascism. Fascism is here. Fascism is moving at an alarming rate, and yet no candidate uses the word fascism. The hope of the Mueller report saving us again is a delusion. Fear and chaos are not normal. Truth and evidence are no longer valued. As a viable presidential candidate, the world and America are watching our strategy to defeat fascism. Again, in truth and in the name of humanity, why don't you call the Trump-Pence regime fascist? I am begging a candidate to have the courage to deal with the word fascism. It's not communism. Fascism preceded Nazism. There's a steep division because in this country because of one's skin, because of one's language, because of one's religion. There are dictatorial powers, the escalation of the military, suppression of the news, as you just experienced. There's an endless litany of the horrific actions. I expect someone who's running for a presidential position to call the regime what it is, fascist.
Okay, now when you talk about fascism, are there any specific events or statements that particular people have made that are outright fascist?
Yeah, most of them. When people continue,
could you give me maybe a specific example? Or?
For example, when Trump wants his military parade, all dictators require a military parade. It's part of the show and tell. 2 or 3.
You mean during his inauguration?
Yes, and then he wanted a tank parade about 3 or 4 months ago. It's the same thing. We don't need a display of military powers. Okay, Trump moved the...
okay, hold on, there's a lot in that. Let me get to that. Okay, you said we don't need a display of military power. In World War II, Churchill had the British Army make a bunch of inflatable tanks and set them along the beach, right? To display the military power. And if it weren't for that, they would have gotten bombed, right? So it worked.
We rely on the Mueller report. We wasted most of us wasted 22 months waiting for an indictment. Okay, well, there were actually indictments. Cohen is in trouble, he's going to jail. Manafort is in trouble, he's going to jail. Flynn is next, Roger Stone. The list is endless.
If they don't get pardoned.
Well, and that's another issue. When in our lifetime have we seen anything which is a consolidation of everything that really is evil?
Obama and Bill Clinton and George Bush. Let me tell you the name of a fascist we all know, right? Mussolini. Now Mussolini, a real fascist, this guy was so sadistic. His army was so terrible that it even disgusted, physically made sick the German army. Now that's what we call a fascist. So if we're equating, politicians in America to fascism, how can we loosely use a term like that? If we were to just generalize a term like that, all right, then that would minimize the most disgusting atrocities that even frighten the Germans, you know? It's easy to criticize people on the other side of the political spectrum. When you talk to young people like these two young ladies who have been conditioned with progressive doctrine from the beginning, to courageous mothers like this woman who are self-employed and struggle to support their families, and even to radical idealists like this lady, you find that their convictions run deep. No matter how misinformed, misguided, inculcated, or inured Democrat voters may be, there is no denying the fact that Democrats have enjoyed a great deal of success in the past 10 years due to Republican impotence and denial. Republicans have done nothing to fix our broken education system, which indoctrinates kids with such warped, godless ideals that they are hardwired to be progressive activists. Republicans have done nothing to fix our healthcare system, which allows insurance companies to screw everyone and the prodigal government to squander immense amounts of taxpayer money with reckless abandon and cater to the avarice of the healthcare industry. The more desperate people become, the more power-hungry Democrats will exploit them with glittering promises that do nothing but steal our liberty and wither our paychecks. It's the same with illegal immigration. Republicans have been acutely remiss to understand how unscrupulous Democrats are. Even after the shameful corruption and hypocrisy Democrats unapologetically showed in the 2016 election, Mueller witch hunt, and the Kavanaugh conspiracy, and so on, Republicans just don't seem to get that Democrats care absolutely nothing about the monsters they create as long as they gain power. It is easy to criticize the logic and beliefs of Democrat voters, but the fact is, they put their faith into the filthy Democrat Party because half of them are programmed that way, and the other half are just desperate to see a positive impact on their daily lives. These people do not think about the consequences. They cannot see the eventual result of trading liberty for government benevolence, because they are so consumed in their everyday lives by unemployment, medical bills, inflation, and so on, that all they want right now is some relief. They're not even asking for opportunities to become successful and live the American dream, because to them, the American dream is just a nice little dream. We have utterly failed to save these young people from our filthy progressive education system. We have failed too many hardworking Americans and produced too many conservative apostates like this lady. And we have utterly failed to give a voice to people who want so much to be heard that they feel that radical disruption is the only way anyone will listen to them. 2020 will be a determinant year for the United States of America. Just because Robert Francis psychedelic warlord Beto O'Rourke rolls up his shirt sleeves and wears jeans does not mean he's for the people. No, far from it. O'Rourke is a far-left, lifelong Democrat who brings nothing new to the table. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Yet somehow, as absurd as it is, Beto supporters see him as a moderate who can get things done on both sides. Indeed, this is one of the most skewed beliefs I've seen since this election cycle began. But you will see so much more in the months to come as Democrats push harder and more vicious than ever before to seize ultimate power. If you think extremist kooks like Beto O'Rourke, who surrounds himself with racists like Lamar Odom,
I don't want nothing to do with white people,
and Eva Longoria, and socialists like Bernie Sanders and Obama, and make promises that sound good to the desperate masses, but sells out our country to corrupt nations and foreign invaders? If you think he's bad, then you have no idea of what is eventually to come out of the Democrat Party if they gain the presidency in 2020. Robert Francis Beto O'Rourke is not the answer. But until we offer real solutions that make real positive impacts on people's daily lives, the Democrats will take over and put an emphatic end to America as we ever knew it.